Welcome back to another important details you might have missed. Recently, Nintendo released another trailer for the brand new Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Shockingly enough, we are getting a brand new playable main character, Shaz, a lad or lass with hair color a tad bit too oversaturated for our mortal eyes to see, and like our dear Lord Teach, they can see and talk to a ghost, who may or may not be an evil god from the great beyond trying to possess the body of our brand new dear protagonist. Now, from what little did we know about them, Shaz was supposed to be very dead in the original Treehouse timeline, killed by the Ashen Demon in a duel way before the events of the prologue. But, for some reason we are yet privy to, they were saved by Arvel, the ghostly entity bound to them. Now revived, they became a wandering mercenary, training for their eventual rematch against the Ashen Demon that once almost took their life. At least that was the plan until they were recruited into the Officer Academy and got pulled into an all-out war between the three nations. Now, let's forget about all that for a second and focus on another thing that has caught my attention. Notice that this part of the second trailer shows that Arvel has normal human ears. Not the pointy Manakiti or Nabatean's ear, but normal, round human ears. Secondly, notice the markings on their face. If you had paid attention in the first trailer, you recognize that the same markings also appears on Shaz's own face. Now this leaves rooms for multiple guesses as to why. Maybe the markings become visible whenever Shaz uses the power of this mysterious entity. Or perhaps this scene is much more sinister than it initially looked, as it could suggest that Shaz's body was possibly under the control of Arvel in the scene. Now, this last thing might make me sound like I'm reaching for something that may not actually be there, but take a good look at the placement of the characters in the official cover art of the game. Notice how Team Byleth are placed on the left, facing towards the right, while our supposed new protagonist Shaz and his partner Arvel was placed on the right, facing towards the left. This kind of trope has been seen time and time again in multiple storytelling media like the movies, theater, or gaming. Within said media, we often see the heroes march towards the villain from the left side of the screen, while the villains from the right side. This is due to the audience feeling more positive or at ease when they see movements coming from the left to the right, as in it feels much more natural to see any movements coming from that direction, while the opposite remains true with the villains who march from the right to the left. Now, if we were to apply this kind of trope into the cover art, it makes things a tad bit awkward for our supposed brand new protagonist for being stuck at the villain side of the house. But it actually makes things a bit more interesting for Byleth, considering that she was to be portrayed as a recurring antagonist who will appear from time to time and fuck shit up for your house. So, taking account of those things that I just mentioned, here are some of my predictions for what's to be revealed in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. And when the game is finally released, we can go back to this video and see which part I got right and which part I got wrong. Now, theory prediction number 1. Arvel is an experiment of the Agarthians who is attempting to create an artificial godlike creature not unlike the Nabateans that they can control through whatever means. But something went wrong with the experimentation that causes the body and the spirit to split in half, meaning that the Arvel we saw in the trailer is merely a wandering spirit without any memories that stumbles into the dying Shaz, while their body is still somewhere deep underground in the Agarthians' labs, who will most definitely attempt to weaponize it for themselves. Now, prediction number 2 shares some similarities with prediction number 1. It will be revealed that Shaz wasn't actually saved by Arvel after his defeat in their duel with Byleth, but instead by the Agarthians when they were out and about looking for a new test subject. After quite some time being comatose within the Agarthians' lab, the spirit of Arvel, who had just recently split off from their own body, managed to merge with Shaz, which then they used to break out. But the process of merging their souls was too much for the both of them. As a result, Arvel's souls became dormant inside, while Shaz retains no memories of his days in the Agarthians' lab, save for the occasional glimpse he saw in his dreams. Lastly, theory number 3. Shaz will be possessed by Arvel, who became berserk in one of the roots, prompting the house they chose to fight him in order to bring him back. This is supported by the marking that shows up during his duel with Byleth. In addition, notice how Byleth and Shaz always seems to parallel each other, like how their hair color in the scene is the opposite of one another in the color wheel, and how they both houses entities who wield massive power inside their body. Now, if we are to keep this theme of perils going on then, remember that Byleth was supposed to be the vessel for Solis to return to the world with. But since Solis ultimately relinquished all her power and control over to Byleth, is it too much of a stretch to say that the opposite happened with Shaz, and he will need to be saved by one of the houses? Anyway, I guess that's gonna be it for this video, lads. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, maybe drop a like and comment down below on what you think will happen next in this game, since it's always good for us to share theories and such. And I always like to read what you guys thoughts on, well, whatever it is related to Fire Moon and stuff. So yeah, and I'll see you all in the next video, guys. Goodbye.